When you walk into a room, you do not seek to capture it, yet heads turn. It is not the clothing, it is not the perfume, it is the presence, a stillness that cannot be practiced in front of a mirror, but cultivated through decades of self-understanding. You carry that stillness like a garment woven from inner discipline. This is the first sign. Your power lies in what you don't try to show. Your face is not untouched by time, but it is not meant to be. The fine lines, the creases, they do not steal beauty, they deepen it. Each tells a story not of sorrow, but of survival. You did not break, you grew. The second sign, beauty as quiet resilience etched into the skin. You speak less often, and when you do, it is with care. There is no desire to impress. The words are measured, like the swing of a well-trained sword. You do not argue to win. You speak to understand. This discipline in communication is the third sign. You dress for harmony, not attention. The fabric flows with your movement, not against it. The colors you wear do not shout. They align with who you are. This harmony of body and attire reveals the fourth sign. External form shaped by inner stillness. You are generous with your gaze. You look at people. Really look. There is no rush in your eyes, no hunger. Just presence, and presence is rare. The fifth sign of your beauty is found in how safe others feel in your company. Laughter does not escape you, but it comes from a deeper place now. It is not decoration. It is truth. You no longer laugh to fill silence or to be liked. You laugh because something resonates, because something matters. This truth, born joy, is the sixth sign. When someone compliments you, you don't dismiss it. You receive it gently, like rain falling on still water, not because you need it, but because you respect the kindness behind it. This self-worth, quiet and rooted, is the seventh sign. You are no longer drawn to chaos. You value rhythm, still mornings, long walks, empty moments. You don't chase excitement. You live in alignment. This devotion to balance reveals the eighth sign. You no longer compete, not with others, not with yourself. You have dropped the illusion that beauty must be proven. You simply are. The ninth sign is your surrender to being enough. There is wisdom in your silence. A younger woman may demand to be seen, but you are already seen by those who matter. The 10th sign, you have learned the difference between visibility and value. You are not afraid of solitude. You are not lost in company. You do not fear aging. You do not cling to the past. The 11th sign is your relationship with time. It is not your enemy, but your teacher. And finally, you do not seek to be beautiful. You seek to be whole, and wholeness in its completeness radiates something stronger than appearance. It radiates truth. The 12th sign, you embody beauty as an extension of who you have become. Grace outweighs glamour because it flows from a place untouched by vanity. Where glamour seeks attention, grace exists in stillness. It is the quiet dignity in how a woman carries herself, not with effort but with ease. Her gestures are minimal, her posture poised, her voice calm. There is no striving to impress, only presence, rooted and unshaken. Glamour fades with time, grace evolves with it. While makeup may hide wrinkles, grace reveals strength behind them. It is in how one responds to discomfort, how one chooses kindness over criticism, patience over pride. Grace is cultivated in moments that do not seek praise but offer truth. It reveals itself not on stage, but in silence. A woman with grace understands rhythm. She does not rush to speak or fill a room with her presence. She observes before acting, listens before replying. Her silence is not emptiness. It is space made sacred through intention. This is not learned in beauty salons, but in the chambers of self-reflection, in long walks without destination, in surrender to simplicity. Her clothing may be modest, but it reflects care, not to be seen, but to be in harmony with the moment. Grace does not follow trends. It follows the wisdom of enough, a scarf draped with intention, a color chosen for calm. There is elegance in how little she needs to express her essence. In movement, grace is felt more than seen. It is the unhurried pace, the soft closing of a door, the way her hand rests lightly on her chest when she laughs. There is nothing forced, nothing exaggerated, just a flow that arises when one is not driven by performance but by inner alignment. When she meets others, her grace becomes a gift. She does not seek dominance in conversation. She offers her attention without condition. You feel heard, not judged. In her presence, you feel your own dignity rise. Glamour may command a room, but grace transforms it. In adversity, grace shows its deepest beauty. She does not collapse under pressure, nor retaliate with bitterness. She holds herself with discipline, responding rather than reacting. Her strength is quiet, yet it shapes outcomes. Where others shake, she steadies. Where others escalate, she de-escalates. And as time moves on, her grace only deepens. She is not chasing youth, because she is embodying wisdom. The years have not taken from her. They have refined her. There is no need for affirmation, no hunger for applause. Her beauty is in her being, not her display. Your presence speaks before you do because it carries the energy of your inner world. Long before your words arrive, your posture, your breath, your stillness, or your restlessness have already introduced you. A room feels your arrival not through sound, but through sensation. The way you enter, the way you stand, the way your gaze rests, all of it conveys who you are becoming more than what you say. A composed presence is not accidental. It is a reflection of discipline, mental, emotional, physical. It is forged in the practice of watching your reactions, choosing your responses, refining your attention. When you've spent years observing your own mind, you begin to enter spaces with less noise. This absence of internal clutter allows you to bring a calming weight with you, and others notice. The woman who has presence doesn't need to compete for space. She already occupies it by being fully in it. Her presence doesn't beg to be noticed, but it is. She does not speak loudly, yet others grow quiet in her company. There is something in her stillness that commands attention, not because it demands it, but because it centers others unconsciously. She does not fidget. She does not rush. Her gestures are precise and minimal. She has no desire to overexpress because she is not seeking validation. Presence is born from contentment with oneself, and in this inner anchoring there is no need for performance. She doesn't ask, "Do they see me?" because she already sees herself clearly. People often mistake charm for presence, but charm is learned. Presence is lived. Charm tries to control a reaction. Presence allows things to be as they are. One disappears the moment the effort stops. The other grows stronger with time. The woman with presence brings calm where there is chaos, clarity where there is confusion. Her eyes hold attention without grasping. They do not flicker with insecurity or distraction. They remain, not cold or vacant, but spacious. They welcome without chasing, receive without expecting. This steadiness in the gaze mirrors the steadiness in her mind, a mind trained not to cling, not to push, simply to be. You feel her presence not only in how she looks at you, but in how she listens. She listens not to respond, but to understand. Her silence is not passive. It is active awareness. It invites others to lower their defenses. There is no pressure to be anyone but yourself in her presence, and that is rare. And even when she leaves, something of her remains, not because of what she wore or what she said, but because of how she made others feel, seen, settled, softened. Her presence lingers like a gentle echo, reminding others what it feels like to be met by someone who has met themselves fully. Elegance lies in restraint because it honors balance over excess. It does not seek to overwhelm the senses, but to calm them. In a world addicted to exaggeration, restraint becomes a quiet rebellion. A woman who embodies this principle chooses not to reveal everything, not to dominate every moment, but to express only what is essential. In that measured offering, there is beauty that cannot be fabricated. Restraint in speech is the beginning of elegance. She does not speak to fill silence or to control a narrative. She speaks when her words have weight. The tone is steady, the volume gentle, the pauses deliberate. Each word lands softly yet firmly, like footsteps on a sacred path. Her silence is not absence. It is presence held back with care. In movement, restraint becomes grace. Her gestures are precise, never wasted. She walks with intention, sits with alignment, holds herself with quiet awareness. There is no frantic energy, no need to perform. Her body language speaks of control, not through suppression, but through mastery. Each action is a reflection of conscious choice rather than impulse. Her style reflects the same principle. She dresses not to impress, but to express stillness. The colors are chosen for harmony, not spectacle. The fit is comfortable yet refined. Accessories are few but meaningful. She does not follow fashion's noise. She listens to her own rhythm. This restraint reveals more than any display ever could. She knows that not every opinion must be shared, not every invitation accepted. Her boundaries are clear, not harsh. She does not explain herself unnecessarily. She does not chase approval. In saying no without apology, in stepping back without guilt, she moves with a power that is quiet but undeniable. Elegance grows in this space of inner clarity. In her emotions, too, she practices restraint. She feels deeply, but does not dramatize. When anger arises, she does not let it spill without direction. When sadness comes, she welcomes it without letting it define her. Her emotional world is not repressed, but contained like a flame that gives light without burning. This containment is not weakness, it is discipline. In relationships, she does not compete for affection or attention. She offers warmth without attachment, presence without pressure. She does not need to be the center. She simply remains centered. Her restraint allows others to breathe around her, to come closer without fear of losing themselves. This gives her a presence that invites rather than demands. She chooses refinement over reaction. She does not rise to every provocation, does not mirror chaos with chaos. Her elegance is not a costume, but a reflection of a life trained in simplicity and awareness. In every decision to hold back, to observe, to wait, she reclaims her dignity, and with it, something far more lasting than charm. The eyes carry the journey because they reveal what words cannot express. They do not lie, even when the mouth does. A woman who has lived fully, who has suffered, healed, grown, and surrendered, holds all of that in her gaze. It is not a stare that seeks approval. It is one that has already seen enough to stand still. Her eyes are no longer wide with wanting, they are steady with knowing. The brightness of youth may fade, but the depth of the journey deepens the light in the eyes. It becomes a softer glow, less about attraction, more about attention. Her eyes do not dart restlessly, looking for the next thing to desire. They settle, observe, receive. In her gaze, you feel witnessed, not watched. There is no judgment, only presence that comes from understanding her own imperfections. When she listens, she does not simply hear you, she sees you, and when she looks at you, you feel the weight of her experience. Every disappointment she has survived, every joy she has cherished, every lesson she has learned, they all gather behind her eyes. You cannot fake this kind of presence. It is earned over years of choosing awareness over escape. There is patience in her gaze, the kind that comes from waiting without resentment. She has learned that everything passes, the excitement, the sorrow, the confusion. Her eyes carry this truth quietly. You sense that she will not rush you, nor will she be rushed herself. This stillness speaks louder than any attempt to appear composed. In conversation, she does not look around for distraction. Her eyes do not search for the next person to impress. They remain where they are, giving full attention without force. This kind of focus is rare and disarming. It makes people feel safe because it holds no agenda. Her presence in the moment is reflected through her gaze, steady and clear. Even in solitude, her eyes are alive. They are not dulled by isolation, but brightened by self-awareness. She is not afraid to be with herself. Her eyes speak of a woman who has sat in silence, met her own shadows, and emerged without needing to hide. This quiet confidence does not need to be announced. It shines through naturally. Her tears, when they come, are not hidden. But they are not indulgent either. They fall without shame. Her eyes have cried over things that truly mattered, and so they do not weep easily. When they do, it is a sacred release, not a performance. There is dignity in her sorrow, a softness that deepens rather than weakens her presence. Over time, her gaze becomes a map, not of the past, but of her integration of it. You don't just see her age, you see her evolution. The strength she didn't know she had, the gentleness she fought to preserve, the truth she refused to abandon. All are etched into her gaze without needing explanation. You are comfortable in silence because you no longer fear what arises when the noise fades. In your younger years, silence may have felt empty, even threatening. Now it feels full, rich with presence, memory, and meaning. You do not need to fill the air with words to prove your worth. You rest in the quiet like a tree rooted in the earth. Unshaken by the wind, this comfort reveals a mind that has been trained to settle. You have walked through restlessness, through the pull to be entertained or validated. But through discipline and introspection, you have discovered that stillness does not equal stagnation. It is where clarity reveals itself, where emotion becomes understandable, where truth rises without being forced in silence. You listen not only to others, but to yourself. You hear the subtle signals of your own body, the whisper of intuition, the movements of your breath. This attunement to your inner rhythm brings a sense of wholeness that no conversation can offer. You don't fear the absence of sound because you've discovered the music within stillness when you sit with others. You do not rush to speak. You allow pauses to exist without discomfort. Your presence tells them they don't need to perform or impress. This ability to hold space without pressure is rare. It is not a tactic, but a result of deep self-respect and emotional maturity. You do not seek to dominate a room with stories or opinions. You speak when the moment calls for it, and even then, with care. People sense that your words arise from silence, not from anxiety. This gives your voice a calm weight. It is not louder than others, but it resonates deeper. Silence has become a sanctuary for you. It is not something you run from, but something you return to. It restores you, centers you, reminds you of who you are beyond your roles and responsibilities. You do not crave distraction because you are no longer trying to escape your own company. Even in moments of tension, you trust silence. You no longer feel the urgency to respond quickly, to argue, to explain. You understand that space softens emotion, that time reveals what urgency hides. By choosing silence, you let others show who they are, while you remain anchored in who you have become. This stillness is not passive. It is not emptiness. It is awareness without reaction, presence without noise. It is the kind of silence that comes after you have faced yourself, accepted yourself, and made peace with what cannot be controlled. Time has become your ally because you no longer resist its rhythm. In your youth, time may have felt like something to race against, a force to outrun. Now it is a companion you walk beside. You no longer chase moments, you meet them. There is no longer panic in the passing of days, only reverence for what each one brings. You have stopped measuring yourself by how fast you accomplish or how young you appear. Instead, you now recognize that real growth does not rush. It unfolds like the seasons, with moments of bloom and moments of stillness. You honor the pace at which your wisdom has arrived, knowing that nothing of value comes overnight. Time has taught you to observe more and react less. What once felt urgent now feels distant. You do not rush to conclusions or try to force outcomes. You trust that clarity will come, and if it doesn't, you know how to wait. In that waiting, you are not passive. You are listening deeply to life. The mistakes you once feared are no longer burdens. Time has softened their sharpness, turning them into teachers rather than judges. You carry lessons, not regrets. What others might call aging, you see as refinement. Not everything went as planned, and yet everything brought you closer to who you truly are. Your priorities have shifted, not by accident, but by experience. Time has peeled away the unnecessary. You know now what is real and what is distraction. You no longer chase every opportunity because you recognize the cost of energy. What you say yes to is chosen with care, and what you decline is done without guilt. Time has revealed the impermanence of things, not as a threat, but as a truth that makes each moment more valuable. You savor more, the taste of tea, the feel of sunlight, the silence at dusk. You are not trying to hold on to time, you are trying to be present with it. This presence has become your strength. You no longer envy the urgency of youth. You see its beauty, but you do not long to return to it. You understand now that depth cannot be rushed, that certain truths only reveal themselves with age. Time, once an adversary, has become a sculptor, shaping you not into someone new, but into someone true. The lines on your face are not signs of loss, but of living. Each year added is not something to hide, but something to hold with quiet pride. Time has not taken from you, it has distilled you. What remains is essential, grounded and unshaken by the passing of trends or the pressure to be anything but whole.